Hi everyone, thanks for joining me again today. You're watching In Deep on the Delta. This is the weekly report for the week of December 30th. And man, I wish it was spring, but it's not. It's winter out here. As you can see, I was going to go out today and get a good river report for you, but there's just too much icing in at the ramp now. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a short report, let you know what's going on in the past week. I'll give you some suggestions if you think you're going to be able to get out this next week, what you might be thinking about doing. And because the report's going to be so short today, I'm going to include a cool little tip when it comes to fishing tube baits. So let me get back to my boat, we'll turn the camera back on, and we'll go through the report. Okay, I've got the boat back down here in the Paradise Point parking lot. Not a whole lot of activity going on. And I'm going to give you guys a real quick report, and then I'm going to talk about a bait rigging hack, we'll call it a bait rigging hack, to use for tubes when I get done with the report. And what I'm going to do when it gets tough like this and the reports are real short, I'm always going to try to include a little bait hack for you. So this is the report for last week. Nothing. Talked to all of the bait shops. I talked to Jeff Suhu. Been in contact with everybody that I know that generally is out here. Nobody's fished this last week. It's been a week of storms. The fishing before that was very tough. So this week has just been a lost week. We've had storm fronts moving in and out, lots of rain. This is all really, really good. We're going to need this rain. I hope it keeps raining. If the weather permits, I'm going to be out hopefully this weekend, maybe Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Who knows? If the fish are biting, I might be out 2 or 3 times. I don't suspect that, but I'm going to try to get out at least a couple times so next week I can give you guys a real fair river report, at least on the conditions of what's going on. And I will keep in contact with all the bait shops and everything. What would I do next week? What am I planning? What I've done this week is number one, I've taken apart all my reels, I've cleaned them, I've got everything in good shape. When I get out next week, I'm going to expect tough conditions. Whether I have 6, 8, or 10 rods on deck, I'm going to split them into two sections. One half of the boat, all of these rods are going to be reaction baits, and we're talking about crankbaits, lipless crankbaits, A-rigs, jerk baits, maybe swim baits, things that move fast. Oh, don't forget, this is the time of year you're going to want to start throwing some not bladed jigs, but spinner baits. They really come on this time of year. The water right now is about 1 foot visibility. I'm expecting we're going to have 1 to 2 feet of visibility for a while out here, especially if it keeps raining. So on that half of the boat, I'm going to have fast moving reaction baits. On this half of the boat, they're going to all be plastics, jigs, worms, maybe even a punch rod. I'm going to try to set up, make sure that my jigs have plenty of scent on them, and I'm also going to start using rattles because of the water clarity. The good thing about next week that I'm hoping is that with this rain and the water coming up, it's going to flood the Tule. So at high tide, I'm going to be able to pitch in there way into the areas where a lot of times these bigger fish will like to get in. And with that scent on a jig and a little rattle, just sit it in there and shake it around a little bit, might be able to get a few big fish. That's the report for last week. This is the report for what I think is going to happen next week. Make sure you tune in, and I'll tell you the good, the bad, or the ugly of what's going on next week. Oh, and I also want to thank everyone who ordered the t-shirts. I got them all shipped out. If you haven't received them yet, let me know. I do have a few left. I know I have lots of extra large and some double X. I think I'm almost all out of large, so let me know what you guys need, and if I need to make another order, I can get those shirts in about 10 days to 2 weeks. But we'll have plenty of those at least for springtime. So thank you guys for ordering all those and supporting the channel. Okay, so let's talk about how to set up the tube. And you can use this on any tube. I have been using the Big Bite baits. It's called a craw tube, and really, I think a great deal. I think they're $4 for a pack of 8, and there are these tubes with the kind of craw-like appendages on them. Just your standard tube. You can use this trick on any tube you want though, but this is the tube that I like in the Delta. And the other thing that I've been doing, I like these scent pins, or the dip and glow pins, and I'll take these and I will touch up the tips on these, either chartreuse or a reddish or a kind of any craw color, but I think it gives it a little more flavor. So anyhow, what I do is I rig these up with a T-rig. And the hook that I like to use is this Gamakatsu skip back hook. Can you see that? Problem with rigging these, and you guys know that if you fish up in the lakes, the part that gets torn up on these are the heads all the time. Totally tore up, and you catch a few fish and the head breaks open and the craw's kind of fouled up. So what I do with this is I take an old robo worm, and I cut it into little pieces, about a half an inch. And I can just do this real quick. And what I want to do is I want to shove this worm inside the tube so that the head of the tube is full of plastic from the inside. So you can see that these things are, they've got a little hole in them here. And I'm just going to take this worm, about a half an inch of it or so, and I'm going to stick it right in the cavity of the worm. Got to get this thing set up, and I'll get it in there, shove it in there. See how we got that sticking in there? What I do is I have a little dowel that I generally use, and I'll shove it about halfway in there to start with. See, I'm just taking that and I'm shoving it into the worm. Now what I'm going to do before I shove it all the way up in there, and let me show you what I got. This is about right in this section, right in here right now. So I still have this area that's hollow. I like to take a little bit of Mend It, and generally I'll do a whole bag of these when I'm at home. I don't do this on the river. I'll take some Mend It and I'll pour it into one of these little tubes, little needle nose tubes. You can get them in pretty much any hobby supply. So I've got my Mend It in here. I will stick this guy right in here, this little thing here, stick it in right at the top, and I'll put some Mend It in here, pull it out, and then I will take my dowel again and I'll shove this all the way up into the head, so that what I have now is a solid piece of rubber in here, and this is where my hook will come on. And by using the Mend It, it holds everything in place. So what I do then is simply take my hook and rig it in like this, pull it out, pop it up here, get it up, make sure it's straight. That one wasn't very good, but doing this quickly. So, whoops, now I'm dropping it. But anyhow, that is the rig. Comes out straight, and you can catch a whole lot of fish on this. Now remember, I've got my line coming in with a bobber stop and a, let's say, a 1/4 ounce sinker or whatever size sinker you need on this, and it's pegged down, and that is the rig. So give that a try. It'll save you lots and lots of tubes, and it'll save you a lot of frustration. You may be able to catch 10 or 12 fish on this where you may have only been able to catch a couple fish without that head in there. I will see you guys next week. Happy New Year. Have a safe Happy New Year. Don't do anything crazy, and I'm really hoping to see some of you guys out on the water when the fishing gets a little better, and we're all out here having fun. We'll start talking about some of the shows that are coming up. I know I'm going to be at the ISE show, and I'm hoping for any of you guys that plan on going to the ISE show, you'll stop by. I think it's Fisherman's Warehouse is the booth that I'll be in, and I want to meet you guys face to face and be able to talk with you and share some stories with you. So we'll have more on that here in the next couple weeks. I'll let you know what days I'm going to be there, this, that, and the other thing. So thanks again for watching. If you haven't subscribed, make sure you subscribe, and I'll see you guys next week.